Bhaktir Bhautim Naistaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, text number 21. Na Vayam Prabhavaha Tam Tvam Na Vayam Prabhavastam Tvam Anukartum Gruheshwari Api Ayusha Va Karsyena Na Ye Cha Anye Gunagrudnavaha Ye Chanye Gunagrudnavaha Navayam Prabhavastam Tvam Anukartum Gruheshwari Api Ayusha Va Karsyena Ye Chanye Gunagrudnavaha Navayam Prabhavastam Tvam Anukartum Gruheshwari Api Ayusha Va Karsyena Ye Chanye Gunagrudnavaha. Na, never. Vayam, we. Prabhavaha, are able. Tam, that. Tvam, unto you. Anukartum, do the same. Gruha Ishwari, O Queen of the home. Api, in spite of. Ayusha, by duration of life. Va, or in the next life. Karsyena, entire. Ye, who. Cha, also. Anye, others. Gunagrudnavaha, those who are able to appreciate qualities. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. O Queen of the home, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done. Even if we worked for our entire life or even after death, to repay you is not possible even for those who are admirers of personal qualities. Please repeat the translation. O Queen of the home, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done. Even if we worked for our entire life or even after death, to repay you is not possible, even for those who are admirers of personal qualities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. So much glorification of a woman by her husband indicates that he is a henpecked or is talking lightly in joke. Kashyapa meant that householders living with wives enjoy the heavenly blessings of sense enjoyment, and at the same time they have no fear of going down to hell. The man in the renounced order of life has no wife and may be driven by sex desire to seek another woman or another's wife and thus go to hell. In other words, the so-called man of the renounced order who has left his house and wife goes to hell if he again desires sexual pleasure, knowingly or unknowingly. In that way, the householders are on the side of safety. Therefore, husbands as a class cannot repay their debt to women either in this life or in the next. Even if they engage themselves in repaying the women throughout their whole lives, it is still not possible. Not all husbands are as able to appreciate the good qualities of their wives. But even though one is able to appreciate these qualities, it is still not possible to repay the debt to the wife. Such extraordinary praises by a husband for his wife are certainly in the mode of joking. Doesn't see Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamy Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Kashyapa is concluding his point of explanation to his wife Diti. So he is saying, Na vayam prabhavastam tvam Anukartum Graheshwari. O Queen of the house Graheshwari, even if we work to repay you back, Na Vayam Prabhavas, will not be able to repay you back. Api Ayushava Karshena. How long should I work? Even in this entire life up to the point of death. And even in the next life. Entirely if I dedicate even to repay you, it will not be possible. Echa anye gunagrundavaha. Even for others who are able to appreciate the personal qualities, even they will not be able to fulfill this repayment. That's why it is said, O Queen of the home, Griheshwari, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done. Na vayam prabhavastam tvam anukartum. Even if we worked for entire life or even after death, api ayushava karsyena, to repay you is not possible even for those who are admirers of personal qualities. Echanye gunagrudnavaha. So in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining in a context wise. He is saying whatever till now Kashyapa had spoken, he had spoken jokingly only. That's the last statement, what Prabhupada is saying, the context wise. So what does so much glorification of a woman indulge in? What do we understand? So much glorification of a woman by her husband indicates that either he is henpecked or he is in a joking attitude. Kashyapa meant that householders living with wives enjoy the heavenly blessings of sense enjoyment and at the same time have no fear of going down to hell. There is an explanation given. If for a brahmachari or a sannyasi who is in the renounced order, for him to feel sense gratification mentally, knowingly, unknowingly can cause agitation and he had to look for something illicit connection to satisfy that desire. In that way, if he tries in that perspective, he is gone to hell. But for a grahastha, whenever there is a thought for sense gratification, there is a wife to support him so that he is safe and secure. So while enjoying sense gratification, he will have heavenly pleasures and he is also confident that he is not transgressing the material rules, so he is not going to hell. So in that way, Kashyapa is justifying his position as a grahastha. Or grahasthas, those who are interested in sense gratification. Please understand, there is a difference between that. A grahastha who is endeavoring for spiritual advancement and who is endeavoring for sense gratification. There is a complete difference between both categories. So such extraordinary praises by a husband for his wife are certainly in the mode of joking. So Kashyapa, he is a very learned, advanced personality. So he is just trying to pass on the situation. He is just joking with his wife. That is the conclusion what we take from here. So in Prabhupada's purports here and there, I was just searching for one perspective. What was the context in which Prabhupada had explained about wife and husband relationships? How it should progress in their life. What is the value they keep for wife and husband relationships? On basis of Prabhupada's instructions we see. Prabhupada says, in the Chanakya Shloka, Dampatyo kalaho nasti tatra shri swayam agataha. Wherever there is no quarrel between wife and husband, so wherever there is peace in the house, goddess of fortune comes to that house, it seems. So this is Chanakya Shloka. So where there is no disagreement between husband and wife, all material appliances are present and good children are born. Next. Just as one saves his money and places it under his own personal protection, one should similarly protect his wife by his own personal supervision. Like how we protect money, we should protect one's wife. Just as intelligence is always within the heart, so a beloved chaste wife should always have her place on the chest of a good husband. So, beloved chaste wife. See the qualification also. This is the proper relationship between husband and wife. A wife is therefore called as Ardhangi, half of the husband's body. Because she shares her position on the chest of the, like how Lakshmi Devi, Vakshasthala Nivasini, she shares on the chest of the Lord. So this is setting a good example. How a wife should be chaste and qualified, and how husband should be spiritually advanced personalities. Next. The relation between wife and husband is firmly established when the wife is faithful and the husband is sincere. Then even if the wife being weaker is unable to execute devotion service with her husband, if she is chaste and sincere, she shares half of her husband's activities. So when she said Ardhangi, so in that qualification Prabhupada is saying, even though if she is chaste and sincere, if she is weak in the spiritual position also, since she is serving her husband, she becomes qualified to receive half of the spiritual merit of the husband's advancement. Now, for this, for example, in Bhagavatam we come across one context, one story. This is between Sukanya and Shavana Muni. Sukanya is very young girl. Shavana Muni has very old personality. One day, by will of providence, Sukanya's father had gone to a forest. There they went to the ashram of Shavana Muni. Because when great personality is there, it is an etiquette to go and meet that great personality. So her father had gone to meet. So Sukanya was there with her friends. So out of curiosity, she went to a little by garden area. She saw there was one wall or one, a mound of mud, in which there was two glowworms like indication. There are two holes from which glowworms like light was coming. So out of curiosity, she picked up a pin and pierced that glowworms. As soon as she did that, blood started coming out of that perspective. And all the people there who had come with the king's army, they all suffered no urine, no stomach clearance. No one, no two. It all got blocked. Because it was actually Shavana Muni who was there inside that pit, who was meditating. Because of offending, knowingly or unknowingly, everybody got this punishment. Now king could understand that some mistake had happened. Because they are in a sacred place, Shavana Muni Shashrama. Something wrong has happened. He immediately went and begged forgiveness from Shavana Muni. And as a token of gratitude for leaving them from the mistake, he handed over his young daughter to Shavana Muni for marriage. He said, from today he is your husband, you have to take care of him very nicely. Because girl has been trained very properly. How she took care of her husband is explained in Bhagavatam. It says, Sukanya Shavanam Prapya Patim Paramakopanam. After obtaining Shavana Muni as her husband, Prapya, Patim Paramakopanam. He is extremely irritable. Irritable means we understand very Kopa of highest degree. Because elderly personality, he is spiritually advanced, materially also, spiritually also qualified personality. So he is in a superior position. So in that way he is always, in a context wise, he is always very irritable, very difficult to handle him. But how Sukanya served him? Priyanaya masa chittagnaha, understanding his consciousness, understanding his mood and temperament, understanding the situations, chittagnaha. Priyanayamasa, she tried to satisfy him in all possible ways. Apramatta anuvrittibihi, apramatta without becoming bewildered, anuvrittihi, she served him responsibly in all his services, time to time, accordingly. So in that purport, Prabhupada says, this is an indication of relation between wife and husband. A great personality like Shravana Muni has the temperament of always wanting to be in a superior position. Such a person cannot submit to anyone. Therefore, Shravana Muni had an irritable temperament. His wife Sukanya could understand his attitude, and under the circumstances, she treated him accordingly. If any wife wants to be happy with her husband, she must try to understand her husband's temperament and please him. This is the victory for a woman. So this is perspective from the woman's perspective. If she had to be a happy family life, she should understand the husband's mentality and serve him accordingly. So Chanakya Pandit also says, see, sometimes we always see there is quarrels between wife and husband. See, where there is no quarrel, when two people are there, quarrel is there because Kali Yuga's impact. Kali means quarrel. So when two people are there, quarrel is there. Father and son, wife and husband, any relationship you take, material world, it is always with quarrel. So how do we understand this quarrel between wife and husband? Chanakya Pandit says in a shloka, he says, Rushi Shraddhe Ajayuddhe Prabhate Mega Gharjane Dampatya Kalahe Chaiva Bahvarambe Lagukriya. Prabhupada quotes this shloka many places. Rishi Shraddhe, a place where the funeral ceremony of a sage is happening who died in the forest. Ajayuddhe, when there is a fight between two goats. Prabhate Mega Garjane, a thunderclap in the morning, early morning, if there is a sound of a thunderbolt sound. Dampatya Kalahe Chaiva, a quarrel between wife and husband. Bhavarambe Lagukriyaha, will all begin in a grand style, but outcome is insignificant. They all fight in a, starting will be a tumultuous and ending will be very silent. So don't take it seriously. Husband and wife quarrel means some misunderstanding. Don't take it too seriously. It will be there, in moment it's vanished. Now since the concept is in the format of joking, do you want joke first or do you want joke at the last? Last. So let us start with first. So what are men's duty? Men's duties are to give 4 types of protection to wife, it seems. Because for a grahastha, responsibilities of the husband are given. These are the 4 types of protection he has to give to his wife. The first one is spiritual protection. The second one is emotional protection. The third one is physical protection. And the fourth one is financial protection. These are the duties of a responsible husband in a spiritual perspective. If he cannot do so, then he need not enter into grahastha ashrama. Better to be a full-time servant of a guru in the brahmachari ashrama. So if you have to accept grahastha ashrama means you have to be responsible for these 4 kinds of protection. Or else best become a brahmachari. A man goes, do you know how people propose? How do they propose? Any experience here? A person sits on his knee and he takes a ring or flower or something like that and he proposes to his girl. He says, marry me and make me the happiest man in the world. Generally boy's expectation. Looking bewildered, the girl said, you want both? Marry and happy life? Any one is possible. You want either happy life or married life. So while getting married, most of the guys, they say to the girl's parents, मैं आपका बेटी को शादी के बाद बहुत खुश रखूंगा. Have you ever heard a girl saying to the boy's parents? They will never say. Because they always do reality. So there was some argument between wife and husband. The wife said, after the argument, I have changed my mind. Suddenly husband said, is it working now? So what is the technical difference between welding and wedding? Welding means what happens? There will be sparks first, there will be bonding forever. Wedding means there will be bonding first, there will be sparks later. That's the only difference. Modern day weddings, I am not talking of traditional Vedic style of wedding in a natural way. The modern day weddings, these are all ending because they are not made at the understanding of proper mentality. They are made in the modern day weddings are made out of infatuation. When that infatuation dies, there will be no love in the personalities there. Heated gold is called ornaments. Beaten copper is called wire. Compressed carbon is called diamond. Heated, beaten, compressed human is called husband. Compromise does not mean you are wrong and your wife is right. It only means safety of your head is more important than your ego. Husband, I found Aladdin lamp today. Wife, what did you ask for, darling? Husband, I had asked him to increase your brain 10 times. Wife, oh, love you so much. Did he do that? Husband, he laughed and said, multiplication does not apply to zeros. Shri Radha Govinda ki. So, a sincere married man, he was praying to the Lord. My dear Lord, you gave me childhood, you took it away. You gave me youth, you took it away. You gave me a wife, and it's been so long, I am just reminding you. So, now let us come to the serious part, what Prabhupada says more about this family life. A grahastha is a person who lives with his family, wife, children and relatives, but has no attachment for them. So there is two personalities, grahastha, grahamedi. So Prabhupada is talking about grahastha. He lives with everybody, but no attachment with anyone. He prefers to live in a family life rather than as a mendicant or a sannyasi, but his chief aim is to achieve self-realization or come to the standard of Krishna consciousness. So grahastha's perspective is be with the family but endeavor for spiritual advancement. Next, it is a woman's nature to want to decorate herself with ornaments and nice dresses and accompany her husband to social functions, meet friends and relatives and enjoy life in that way. This is a woman's nature. This propensity is not unusual, for women is the basic principle of material enjoyment. That's why woman in Sanskrit it is called as Stri, one who expands the process of sense gratification, or one who expands the field of material enjoyment. Grahastha life is inauspicious because Grahastha means conscious for sense gratification. If you are ready for sense gratification, it is inauspicious for you. And as soon as there is sense gratification, one's position is always full of dangers. The conclusion is that by developing a loving desire for the service of lotus feet of the Lord, we subdue all material desires for sense gratification. Now, how to come out of this idea of sense gratification? Prabhupada is saying we have to develop a loving desire for the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Madana Mohana. By serving Madana Mohana, we come out of the lusty tendencies. Because Madana means lust, Cupid, Mohana means one who is able to enchant the Cupid. Because Krishna could even enchant the Cupid, by taking shelter of Krishna, we can also come out of these material sense gratificatory thoughts. So Prabhupada is saying in one more place, it is sometimes understood that a person becomes lusty just by hearing the tinkling of the bangles on the hands of a woman or the tinkling of ankle bells. See, this is in the perspective of Vishwamitra. He was meditating, but he heard only the tinkling sound. Or just by seeing a woman's sari, that it is concluded that woman is the most complete representation of Maya. Although Vishwamitra Muni was engaged in practicing mystic yoga with closed eyes, his transcendental meditation was broken when he heard the tinkling of the bangles on the hands of Menaka. In this way, Vishwamitra Muni became a victim of Menaka and fathered a child who is universally celebrated as Shakuntala. The conclusion is that no one can save himself from the attraction of a woman, even though he be an exalted demigod or an inhabitant of higher planets. Only a devotee of the Lord who is attracted by Krishna can escape the lures of the woman. Once one is attracted by Krishna, the illusory energy of the world cannot attract him. In the context wise, justification is explained. How? By serving the Lord, one is not carried away by material glare. Sometimes it is said family life is the safest path and brahmacharya the easy path. Brahmachari life is by nature simple and in that way easy sense. Although somewhat austere, it frees its practitioner from unnecessary material entanglements and the problem that go along with. See, brahmachari, he has to just manage himself. Now grihastha, how many he has to manage? He has to manage his wife, children, social, responsible, like social, family, relatives, many things he has to be answerable in that way. So being a brahmachari is safest. Next. Thus a brahmachari remains largely problem free. A genuine brahmachari has few problems and especially does not have serious mental problems. A brahmachari with many problems should go to grihastha ashrama for working out problems, which is by nature full of problems. So, although brahmachari life is considered austere because it tends towards zero sense gratification, the difficulties a grihastha has to undergo to maintain these little sense gratification are often more than a brahmachari voluntarily accepts. So, little tapasya, the brahmachari is safe and secure. But for a grihastha, you are in midst the problems, ocean of problems. So, better be a brahmachari. Without a fixed wife, a man becomes debauchee of the first order and is a nuisance in the society. Unless he is a trained brahmachari, vanaprastha or sannyasa, unless there is rigid systematic training of the brahmachari by the expert spiritual master. So this has been spoken in the last verse. So there is a fixed training required for a person to be a stable personality. So brahmacharya is required for perfection of self-realization and mystic power. So any process you take, if a yogi has to be a perfect in the process, brahmacharya is compulsory, celibacy is compulsory. Regulation of the senses is compulsory. Brahmacharya means to regulate the senses. Yoga means yoga indriya samyama, regulating the senses with the mind. So some descriptions of a brahmachari yogi. In the morning, the first duty of a brahmachari seeking spiritual elevation is huta hutasana, to offer sacrificial oblations to the Supreme Lord. Those engaged in brahmacharya cannot sleep until 7 or 9 o'clock in the morning. They must rise early in the morning, at least in the Brahma Muhurta time, and they should offer worship the sages, they should worship the holy name, worship the sages, worship the Supreme Lord. The brahmachari must rise early in the morning and after placing himself should chant the holy name of the Lord. From the features of the sage, it appeared that he had undergone great austerities. That is a sign of one observing brahmacharya. If one lives, so from the face one can identify whether the face is like a sattvic face or a lusty face. Face represents the index of the mind. So if one lives like a brahmachari, his face will have a different glow. But it will manifest in the lust visible in the face and body. If somebody is in a different mood, their face will represent their symptoms. So it is said in the verse that charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating that they cause one to forget the charms of sense gratification. The conditioned souls are shackled to material existence because they are captivated by the charms of sense gratification, especially sex life. The sex god is called as Makaradvajaha, and the charming brows of the Supreme Lord protect the sages and devotees from being charmed by material lust and sex attraction. An example is given of Yamunacharya. He said, Yadvadi, what is that shloka? Yadvadi mama cheta Krishna padara vindayo Navanava rasa mudyatam ramtumasi. Because the day I got connected to Krishna, these material thoughts became very insignificant for me. Even if the thought of that sexual desire comes, I spit at that thought. Means he became so detached from the material perspective that by being worshipping Lord Krishna in the mood of service to Lord, always thinking of the Lord, material things became insignificant for him. Therefore, if anyone wants to be aloof from sexual attraction, he must see the charming smile and fascinating eyebrows of the Supreme Lord. So, how to come out of that perspective? If you have to stay a brahmacharya, you have to be strong in spiritual perspectives, means you should get connected to more of Krishna's personal bodily presentations. So, every living entity is a hero in two ways. When he is victim of illusory energy, he works as a great hero in the material world, as a great leader, politician, businessman, industrialist, and his heroic activities contribute to the material advancement of civilization. Because if he wants to become identified by a woman, so he has to become hero in front of her. So for that purpose, he starts becoming extraordinary activities. Sometimes he even becomes Superman to perform extraordinary things, because when you become something special, you become identified by opposite sex. So in that way, materially, if you want to be identified, if you have to act, you will become hero. One can also become a hero by being master of the senses, Swamy. So if you want to become sense gratification, you become a hero in this material world. If you want to become spiritually advanced, you become a hero in the spiritual perspective. In the history of material activities, there are so many examples like Roman hero Antony, who became captivated by beauty of Cleopatra. Similarly, a great hero in India, Bajirao, became a victim of women during the time of Maharashtrian politics, and he was defeated. From history, we understand that formerly politicians used to employ beautiful girls who are trained as Vishakanya. Women, they are trained as Vishakanya, means from childhood, they take poison in a very mild way. At one particular point in their life, their body is actually full of poison. So when these women, they go and kiss somebody, the poison enters into the opposite person and that person is dead. Politicians used to maintain this Vishakanya to take revenge on opposite enemies. So thus there are many instances in human history of heroes who have been curbed simply by women. Being part and parcel of Krishna, the living entity is certainly a great hero. But due to his own weakness, he becomes attracted to material futures. So he has to be very careful. So one always wants to be a hero, but hero, the service of the Lord is always good, not in the material perspective. For an aspiring person who wants to advance in spiritual life. So this is one story in Vedic times. So there was one king by name Ratnadipati. He had an island by name Ratnakuta, a devoted Vaishnava. By performing severe austerities to please Lord Vishnu, he obtained various boons, and one of that was he could conquer the whole earth and marry all the princes on this earth. And Lord also blessed him by saying, tomorrow morning a white elephant will come to you. It is capable of flying anywhere and everywhere. And you can mount on it and travel on to any kingdom and defeat the ruler there. The defeated king will offer one of his daughters to you in marriage. So as predicted by the Lord, next day an elephant came. So he started climbing on that elephant. Every day he was going to different kingdoms. He was defeating them. Then he was getting married to their daughter. In that way, over a period of time, he conquered the entire earth. And he had married 80,000 princes. So once, while he was making visit to different lands in a distinct place, so he saw a huge bird from the descendant of Garuda attack this elephant, hit him with his beak on the head, Mastakasthala. The elephant fell down, unconscious, and it was gasping for life. And the king also became very morose. He was also, when he fell down, he also got affected by the flight. So when he got up, seeing his dear friend in such a agony, he started crying. He was thinking of alternatives. He was thinking of how to protect his dear friend. So after a few days, after 4 or 5 days also, the elephant could not recover. Then he said, if my elephant could not recover, what is the point in me staying? Then he started proclaiming to all the devatas, if you cannot help me, give me the reason how to protect my elephant. I'll quit my life, I will commit suicide. I'll offer my life also. So at that time there was a heavenly voice, it said, don't act like a foolish person. So your elephant can be revived if a chaste woman comes and touches your elephant. So then he thought all his wives, 80,000 wives are there, they are all very chaste to him, they are very loyal to him. Then he had asked his wives to come. The first main head queen came. So when she came, nothing happened. Next came, nothing happened. 80,000 came, nothing happened. So he was wondering, what is this? My 80,000 queens means they are not chaste and loyal to me. So in the meantime, there was some discussion going on, there was commotion everywhere. So one visitor had come to this kingdom from a nearby place. He is a businessman. He had a servant by name Sheelavati. So seeing the commotion, out of curiosity what this group is here, she came forward. And when she got to know of the details, a chaste woman has to go near the elephant will become revived. She asked the king, can I try? So king said, okay, try. What is the loss? There is no loss going near the elephant. So as soon as she came, started walking towards the elephant started getting up. Everybody was surprised, everybody very happy. The king was very happy. The elephant was back to life. The elephant was full energetic and strong as earlier. So he became very happy. Then he thanked the lady. He thanked that businessman, because of you coming to our city, we are able to have this come out of the situation. He gave gifts to that lady. He gave gifts to that person. Finally, he could understand, always this will be a problem for me in future. So he approached that lady and he had asked her, see, my 80,000 wives could not prove that they are loyal and chaste to me. So I want you to suggest to me somebody who is of your character, who is very chaste and loyal, whom I can marry so that they can always be there with me. Then Sheelavati said, sir, I am from so and so place. I have a sister there who is also trained in my similar pattern by our parents. So I suggest you go and marry her. So next day he went to that place. He saw the girl, very nice looking, very austere, simple, all sattvic qualities are there. Then when he had called the astrologers and asked them to check the situation of the marriage, they said, my dear sir, muhurtas are not there in 1 month. So please don't marry. If you marry within this period, the chastity of your wife will break. So but the king was very anxious. He said, 1 month waiting, it will be very difficult for me. I'll do one thing. I'll marry her and take her to one island where no men can come. So in that way I can protect her and see her chastity is not gone. So he, like not following the instructions of the astrologers, he married her. With his elephant he took her to an island. So there a huge palace was made. So he was giving her all luxuries and comforts. So all servants are all women only. So if he have to go to that island, he has to so every day in the night he used to fly with his elephant there, enjoy, next day morning come back and take care of his kingdom, doing his regular duties. After some 20-25 days in this process, one day they had liquor in the night, some intoxicant. So it was little overdose, but he had to come back. He came back. Wife was still having that hangover. It was still, the brain was still fuzzy. And suddenly there was a knock on the palace door. And when she went to open the door, suddenly she saw one young man standing there. So she was surprised. How could a man, first time in that area? Then she asked him, who are you? How could you come here? Because no man has ever come here. He started explaining that he is so unfortunate person. So he was very poor, So he could not take care of properly himself. After getting married, he went to a distant place to earn money. So he had accumulated money by working hard for many days. So when he is trying to go to a different place to set up business, on the way robbers looted him. So then he was traveling somewhere, then one person compassionately took me. So I was there in the ocean, he was taking me to a different place. Suddenly the thunderstorm struck and the boat got divided. So I somehow survived by climbing onto a plank, and that plank has reached me to this side of the ocean, other side of the shore in this island. So I saw this beautiful big house here. I came here so that I can get some food because I have been struggling for so long. I am such an unfortunate person. So seeing his pitiable story, the wife became connected to him immediately because she was in a delirious condition. She took him, she served him, she sat next to him, and something wrong happened. So the king could sense there is something wrong is happening. He immediately flew back. When he came here, he saw that the wife is next to that boy. And he thought that astrologer's words have come true. Even I tried to save and secure her, she became unchaste. So leaving her there, then he left that person also unpunished because by will of karma, everything happened. It's not that I have intentionally tried to stop, but still, since I had not followed the duties of instructions given by the sages, it is my fault. He left him. He came back. So this person also was climbing. This person climbed on one more plank. He was going again in the back. He saw one huge ship there. He was waving his hands. So they came to help him. They picked him into their vessel. So after getting there, then because he got addicted to somebody woman, he started preying on that owner's wife there. So owner's wife became angry and threw him into the ocean. So where he was eaten by whale and he lost his life. And this king, he brought the lady and handed over to her sister and narrated everything that had taken place. Therefore, he offered the entire kingdom and his wealth to that Shilavati and all to the Brahmanas. He wanted to retire to Tapovana. So as he was in a deep sorrow, he was in a renounced mode. He said, so many people, he maintained that all his wives are taken care of. So everybody are given responsible things. Then he wanted to renounce from this material world. Then he got onto the elephant to go to that place. All of a sudden, the elephant transformed into a human being, into a Gandharva. The king became astonished and asked, "Who is this? Who are you?" Then that Gandharva replied, "You and I are Gandharvas, and I am your elder brother. My name is Somaprabha, and you are Devaprabha. Once, when your wife Rajavati, you and I were performing Archana in the Lord Vishnu's place, so there were many great sages in that area. I was performing a Siddha. One of them stared at your wife who was singing. So there were many devotees there. One of them stared at your wife. So you became enraged and said, 'Being a Siddha, is it right for you to stare at another woman in this manner?' He replied, 'Oh fool, I was carried away by her music. I did not eye her out of lust.' See, I was only carried away by the music, how she was singing. I did not see in a lustful attitude. So, you are a person filled with jealousy. Therefore, I curse you and your wife to take birth in the human world, and you will see her in the company of another man." Like that he cursed. At that time, the brother became angry and he struck this person with one tusk of a white elephant. So because he had hurted that sadhu, so sadhu also cursed him. Because you hurt me with a white elephant tusk, you also become an elephant. And you will carry your brother. And the day when he renounces this world, when he sees that his wife has become polluted, and he agrees to go to Tapovana to renounce this world, that day both of you will become free from this curse. So understanding this perspective, see how material world. For small things we try to do something, we become entangled in further things. So Shastras has given us a guidance. Acharyas have given us a guidance. If you are able to manage yourself, be in Brahmacharya ashrama. If you can't manage, then only get into Grahastha ashrama. See, all ashramas are respectable. Nothing is to say one is superior, one is inferior. It is a system which is created by the Lord. But Lord also, when He created, He recommended this is best. But if you can't follow that, don't become an imposter in that ashrama. We should not be falsely in that ashrama. We can go to the respectable in the next ashrama, practice for spiritual advancement and endeavor for perfection even there. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? कि ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की हिताय गौर प्रेमानंद.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి